The textbooks teach us that the Grand Canal began in the Sui dynasty. Though if you look closely, you could make the case that the Grand Canal did not exactly begin then. Rather, it was in this dynasty that the major work of connections and linkages was done. Likewise, there are some books that say that the Grand Canal ended in the 19th century when the Qing dynasty faced trouble and the canal itself fell into disrepair. Yet, the Grand Canal was renovated several times in the course of the 20th century, and improvements continue to this day. If you look at today's boat traffic along the Grand Canal, you will see that despite all the infrastructure we have, that is, despite transportation via highways, railroads, and air cargo, China still uses the Grand Canal as an important industrial waterway. It has never come to an end. In fact, if you want to understand history, it is not enough just to know facts. Everything changes, grows, develops, and falls apart. Instead of facts, we need to know basics. That is, basic ways to orient ourselves so that we can follow the story of the Grand Canal. Let me give you an example of what I mean. We are often told that the Grand Canal is almost 1,800 kilometers long. But long between what? The answer often given is between Beijing and Hangzhou. And it is true that during the Yuan dynasty, there was a north-south route created linking the area around Beijing with the area around Hangzhou. Still, earlier versions had a different endpoint. They went north from Zhejiang and moved west to Luoyang and even up to what is today Xi'an. But what does it mean for the Grand Canal to begin or end? Boats may have departed from south of the Yangtze and headed north, but we don't yet know what set the process in motion. Let's think of the Grand Canal as a system and ask ourselves, what are the basics that we need to know? A system is when all the parts depend on each other to produce something larger. Consider this. Even though we think of the Grand Canal as a water system, it makes more sense to think of it as an urban-rural system that depended on water transport. Without China's cities, there never would have been a need for the Grand Canal. They're hard to notice today, but they are there. In practically every city in China, you can find old markets for the distribution of food. Where did that food come from? Keep in mind how many people live in China's cities, not only today, but in the past as well. For example, I once read an estimate that during the Song dynasty, 50% of the world's urban population lived in China's cities. For every 2 people that lived in a city, 1 was Chinese. Cities do many wonderful things, but rarely, if ever, can they produce enough food to feed themselves. School children are taught that China has had different capitals, Chang'an, Luoyang, Kaifeng, etc. What needs to be emphasized is that with few exceptions, these capital cities are found in the north. Beijing is an obvious example, an area where it is even more difficult to feed the local population with agricultural produce from the surrounding areas. The textbooks also talk about the different regions of China where rice is grown and grain is produced. Yet what really matters is that food moved northward and fed the various capital cities and other cities of the north. In the long centuries before the industrial age, the territories and cities of China were linked together by a complex system that united city and countryside. A good name for this complex system is the Grand Canal.
每句一问 大卫先生，如果你生活在古代中国，你会愿意主动去开发大运河吗？
不一定。可以想象到，在最大的时候开发大运河是一件非常困难的事情。
岳云上有天堂，下有苏杭。大卫先生，你是怎样理解这句话的？
苏州、杭州这两个城市无独出口，在我看来，他们确实独具魅力。如果想要知道更多精彩内容，欢迎收看下集。
下期再见。